This is Ollie Bearman in his first ever qualifying in F1. He then went on to score points in his debut Grand Prix. After his impressive run in Saudi, I think he's definitely a solid candidate for an F1 seat next year. And I think he'll be a good solution to a problem that's been developing at Haas for the past 12 months. So, what problem does Haas have? How can Ollie fix it? And surely there are better options than Haas, right? Now, throughout the 2023 season, we saw a trend with the Haas team. And no, I'm not talking about the car performance. It was the difference between their drivers Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, in qualifying in particular. If we look at the data on screen, we can see what I mean. Kevin Magnussen was out-qualified by Nico Hülkenberg 5 times. In a 22 race season, that was more than a 22% advantage and a big problem for a backmarker team. You have to be as far forward as possible on the starting grid to capitalise on any chaos and because of what's at stake. Throwing back to last year, Alfa Romeo and Haas were in a race to 9th place, which is a $9 million difference in prize money. Alfa Romeo had a strong quali at Qatar with Bottas, and the crazy race conditions led to a double points finish, which was a huge dent on Haas's challenge and ultimately sealed their fate. So this really demonstrates the importance of a strong qualifying. But it doesn't look like Magnussen has fully solved the issue. Already at the season opener at Bahrain, he was 7/10ths down on his teammate in quali, which team principal Ao Komatsu has already said is not acceptable. But what is holding Kevin back? Well, Ao Komatsu gave an answer for us. He used to be the trackside engineering director at Haas, so he's seen the data between the drivers, and he said that, honestly, it's just Kevin's driving style. So the limiting factor then is Kevin. Now, I know you're going to point to Saudi qualifying, but I need more than one race of proof to change my mind on a trend that's lasted longer than a year. But I have a fear it actually goes deeper than just his driving style. I think Kevin Magnussen has got comfortable at the Haas team, and I don't think he has the burning desire to win and be champion like the younger drivers from F2 have. So that's the problem, but how can Ollie Bearman fix it? Well, look at what Ollie Bearman is doing. I mean, did you see his F2 qualifying in Saudi? He stuck it on pole, and him and one other driver were around 2/10ths faster than the guy in 3rd place. And these guys are in a spec series, all the cars are identical. So he's obviously showing that he's good over one lap, and that's a great start. But not only that, it was really his ability to get up to speed so quickly when called up to drive Sainz's Ferrari, and then get confident enough to be as close to the walls as he was after just 45 minutes of running in FP3. I watched his onboards for the entire Saudi race, and he didn't put a foot wrong. He's really proved himself, and even Leclerc agrees that it's a matter of time before he's on the grid. But why Haas? Why not another team? Well, I think this comes down to what options will likely be available next year. If it was a few years ago, I would say that he's probably going to go to Sauber, just like Leclerc did. But with Audi now 100% committed to taking over that team, I doubt Ferrari would risk giving away their junior talent to a giant like the Volkswagen Group. But also, I don't even think Audi's interested, because it would just be a distraction whilst they're trying to build up their new team. So I just don't think that would even happen. So the next team with close ties to Ferrari is Haas. And I'm sure that there will still be room for leveraging the parts that they supply to Haas to get a junior driver into that seat. And Ao Komatsu has already expressed how impressed he was with Bearman when he did an FP1 at the team in Mexico last year. So it just makes sense for Ferrari to onboard him at Haas, which is close to Maranello anyway, and then move him over to Ferrari once Hamilton retires. Now, if this plays out, Haas could have a very talented, ambitious driver to replace a settled driver who really isn't in the sport to win. If you have a driver who comes in and wants XYZ and wants to outperform his teammate and has a lot of ambition for the team, well, then it's going to bring energy to the team that he's driving for. If you've seen the movie Rush, you'll see what I mean. Look at what Niki Lauda did to BRM in the 1973 season. He had ambitious plans in a struggling backmarker team, and he was instantly quick there despite their decline. So I think Haas would really benefit from having Ollie Bearman instead of Kevin Magnussen. Now, I mentioned at the start of the video that Liam Lawson is another candidate for an F1 seat in 2025, and Helmut Marko has gone so far as to confirm that he'll be on the grid next year. Now, it doesn't really make sense for him to drive anywhere else than RB, so It begs the question of who he's going to replace next year. Well, I made a video discussing this after Tsunoda's moment post Bahrain, and I think you'll want to see the similarities between this situation and what happened to one of their junior drivers before. You can watch this video here to find out, and I'll see you there.